Hi, my name is Maridee and this is Dr. Neil.
Hi.
Hi. And we are coming to you from the headquarters of N Squared, which is a worldwide software company where we build educational software. And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about education and technology, and specifically how people interact with technology inside the educational sphere. So Dr. Neil, what is the importance of interaction with technology?
I think, if you think about the history of computers within schools, computers within education, we've seen an evolution occur from, I remember when computers first went into schools, and I worked in a school, and we were putting things like BBC Micros into classrooms and setting up computer labs within a school environment. With that kind of 6502, 6510, no one really cares what the technology was, but that level of technology. And the big hurdle to overcome at that early stage was actually teaching people how to use a computer at all. And then IBM PCs and the early Macs came in, and it was like how to use a mouse, how to use a keyboard. There was a lot of how to actually use the technology learning that had to take effect before you could use the technology to learn.
Mm-hmm.
It was like you had to learn to use the technology, and then you can start leveraging it in the education space to do interesting things. And that's becoming less and less of a challenge now on a number of fronts. Of course, the first one is that kids today growing up with computers, certainly in Western world, a lot of kids have computers at home. Mum and dad have a computer. They're learning how to use a mouse age 3. They know how to tap out wiggles on the keyboard or whatever it is, and and Google searches and all those kind of things. And so the hurdle to overcome is much lower.
Mm-hmm.
Children are coming into education with mostly with a set of knowledge about how to use a computer at a very rudimentary level, and so we don't have to go through that. The other thing is that there's now newer technologies like touch, which create a much richer interaction, so that it's what we call walk up and use, that the student can actually just not have to learn how to use it at all, but walk up and straight away start getting advantage out of the activity that we've created on the screen. Mm-hmm. They just touch the activity, they interact directly with it, they move things around, they stretch things, they shrink things, they throw them away, they flick them around. It's a very natural, intuitive to them interactive model. And so that enhances the technology. So the technology is now at a point where in many ways people don't think about it as technology, and certainly those students don't think about it as technology. They just are doing something, they're achieving a goal, in the same way that we don't necessarily think this is technology, and yet here we have the output, although somewhat broken, of thousands of years of technology research and understanding, and but we just use it to write. And the same thing is now happening with computers in schools and in education, where we're not, saying, oh, this is a computer. We have to, teach them how to use the mouse, teach them how to use the keyboard, have special labs to teach the students how to use the computer. We can now jump over that and get straight into the interaction with the activities. And so you think about something like Microsoft Surface that we're doing development for, or the Windows 7 multi-touch activities learning activities that we've been building. They present to the student straight away, there's the activity. Mm-hmm. There's no how do I load it, how do I boot it, how do I get into the application, how do I run the application, how do I shut down, how do I save my work. There's none of that. It's all done for them. Mm-hmm. So they get straight into the learning activity. So like the history one that we built recently, it's just there. They move stuff around, they see the activities, they start carrying out the activities, they read the instructions, so on. That one's for that one specifically is for Windows 7 multi-touch, and it's much more solitary. But then you take Surface, they can walk up and use it, and you can get multiple students. In fact, it's quite funny to watch certainly younger kids around the Surface table. The interaction model is very rich, and they're just straight in there touching it, and you can get, with 7-year-olds you can probably get 10 of them around the Surface all touching it at the same time, and you can't even peel them away. I mean, it's direct interaction. Is the frustration level is way down, compared to how computers used to be. So it's an interesting progression.
And it's perfect for kids because kids like to inherently explore, whereas adults kind of have more of a fear, oh, I might break this or something like that. But with kids and with teenagers even, they want to break things. They want to explore and check it out. And this direct interaction.
Yeah, and they don't really have a fear of, I mean, you know, it wasn't their budget that the computer came out of, right? That's the starting point. But, you know, like adults, and it's actually one of the biggest challenges with technology in education is the technology moves forward so fast. Most of the adults in education can't keep up with it because they're busy keeping up with their field of expertise, whether it's, you know, geography or learning or, you know, young child learning or disabled learning or special needs learning or whatever it is. They're trying to keep up with that field, and there's all this technology that could be helping them, but it's a challenge to keep them across that new technology as well. And so there's this barrier of fear amongst the educators that needs to be overcome in order to get these advantages to them. And the kids don't have that fear. The students don't have that fear. The students are willing to just go straight in there and touch, and like you say, they don't care about breaking it, but you know, they'll explore. And that's a lot harder to teach the educators themselves to not be so concerned about it.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah, some definite interesting challenges there going forward.
Yeah. So, yeah, interaction with technology and education has really come a long ways, and hopefully we're building applications to help increase that, and I know other companies are doing the same thing, so it's just an exciting field to be in.
And I think you know, what we see, people say, oh, you know, at some stage we'll come to a point where that's it. No, it's just escalating faster and faster and faster. I think the thing to be aware of, though, is there's a lot of companies that deploy technology into education in a very naive way. Like, it's not the technology that fundamentally solves the problems, it's people that fundamentally solve the problems, and that's why it's so important to make sure the educators, the teachers themselves, are across what the technology can do for them and have tools. And that's something we are quite passionate about, is making sure the teachers have tools to enhance the activities, to build activities, to customize the activities to the lessons they want to teach.
And Semblio is a really good example.
Right,
of that.
Semblio, which is the rich toolkit from Microsoft, which we've been doing a lot of stuff with, enables very rich, and we can, you know, think about the richness of engagement maybe in another conversation, but enables the teachers, or enables us as developers, to build elements that the teachers can plug together in different ways to create very rich learning experiences.
To make it easy for the teachers to incorporate this. Like you said, they're busy trying to keep up on their field of education, and incorporating the technology, we want to make that as easy as we can.
Again, exactly like a ballpoint pen. I don't want the teacher to have to think about, oh, how do I learn how to use this? It should be walk up and use, customize their activity to how they want it to work, deploy, you know, without even thinking about it being a deploy. They save it, essentially, automatically gets saved, and it appears as an activity to the students.
Right. So very exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you for chatting with me today
You're
about
welcome.
this,
Thank
and
you.
we look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thanks.